Well, we had to take a class. We're required to go on a summer study abroad experience. So during the semester last year, in the spring, we took a semester-long course about the history of Africa, the history of apartheid, to really get to know what the country was about before we got there. So it really helped to prepare us to, when we actually got to the country. So
I think that Professor Mallon, who taught the course, she really selected a great amount of material for us to review. I mean, we only met about, I want to say, like 4 times over the course of the semester, maybe a couple more. But it was for about like 2-hour sessions each. And, for the amount of material that we got out of that, and it helped immensely once we got there. She had us reading poetry, watching films. We watched coverage of the election while it was going on, because it was happening right a couple weeks before we left. They had their presidential election.
And then when we finally got there, it was just absolutely amazing. Like, you can only learn so much from books and paper, but when you actually go there, it was unbelievable, because we read about apartheid, but then we actually went there and saw the changes that has happened since then. And we just went in, and I know I was just completely awed by what's going on. Like, we had just gotten there right after the elections. We went to one of the capitals, and the podium was still there from where the president spoke. So it was just like stepping right from the book, like the books we read, right into the real thing. So it was just an amazing experience.
I mean, and what an amazing country. I mean, I would recommend anyone to go to South Africa, because I just feel like it's such a unique country, because it's in this period of transition, and that was a big focus of our course. In this period of transition, you have this incredible synthesis between all the peoples, and they're building all these projects that really signify that they want change. Like, one example is they have a constitutional court, and it's built from the same bricks of a prison that used to be right next door. And so, it's everything in South Africa is very symbolic.
We presented at the Academic Excellence Conference, but we each did research papers. Mine was on healthcare, because I'm a nutrition major, and it was really interesting because you not only, I saw it from the American side, but then I got to see it from the South African side and really see it developing and just going through this whole transitional period. So it was really interesting to have a focus. So, and then to be able to write a paper and then present to other people about it. So that was really exciting too.
Yeah, and my focus was on the changing political atmosphere, because right when we got there, they had just received a new president. And so a lot of what my research was to look into his background, and to I did a lot of personal interviews with people that we met there, a lot of our tour guides, a couple townspeople, and even a woman I met on the plane on the way back. I really tried to go into it without having expectations, because I think that was one of the biggest things that we talked about in the class, was to, really open yourself up to experiencing this new place. And for a lot of us, South Africa was the most different place we'd ever been in our lives. I think possibly for everyone that might have been, the same experience. So I know personally, I mean, I really don't think I was shocked until maybe even I got back to the United States, because I really tried the entire 2 weeks, a little over 2 weeks that we were there, to just take everything in and understand it and just let it happen.
And we talked about how it feels to go into a different culture, and I really was surprised. Like, you hear, Africa is the poorest country, they're illiterate, but I got there and people spoke 8 different languages fluently. And here's me being from America speaking English. So no matter even what you think, I knew South Africa wasn't the poorest country, people could read and write, but still, just from what you hear growing up and the things, you just can't stop it. And then you get there and it's just like, wow, you can speak 8 languages fluently. Oh my God.
When I came back to the United States, I was just so much more conscious about other countries. I felt like I cared more about international issues from an American perspective, and it's been like that ever since I've been back. I mean, I love incorporating international like aspects to all of my work now. I'm taking like an intercultural class this semester. I'm taking a global media class this semester, and I choose those because I've had this experience abroad, and I just had a great time with it.
Kind of going off Corey, it's so amazing to come back and see how people's opinions really are, where I've now gone to another country, I see how another culture lives and acts and interacts with each other, and then I come back and people are talking, about just little tiny things like, oh, I gotta go shopping, or oh, I don't have the most updated iPod. But then it's so difficult for us because we're now global citizens, we talked so much about that we have so many more experiences now that are just on a bigger picture, like all that globalization, culturalization, things like that it's hard to go back and, tell my mom about the experience that I've had because she just, they don't know. And then, then they start talking, oh, gotta go to the store and buy something, and it's just so different because we've been able to experience it. It's hard because not everyone has. And it's hard to try to explain to people what the experience was like because it's so unique and so personal to us and what we did. So it is a hard transition. It's hard to get back into the swing of things where not everyone is like, whoa, international issues. Not everyone's taking global classes, things like that.
I think definitely, whenever it just comes up in conversation that, oh, I've been to South Africa, people are, pretty interested. And I feel like I love talking about going there and about what I experienced and about what that country's going through. And I think that, a big part of, you can't go home again is continuing to, disseminate that knowledge and that experience that you had abroad. I think that, that's crucial to, keeping everyone informed, because not a lot of people can't go to other countries or don't have those opportunities presented to them. We're very lucky that we've been able to do that. So I just feel like it's kind of a personal charge for me to keep talking about it, to keep getting the conversation going about it.
It's true. It's very important to to go and talk to other people because before I went on the trip, my grandparents and my mom were worried. They're like, make sure the poisonous spiders and the rhinos don't come after you. And now that I've come back and I've shared my knowledge with them, my mom called me the other day and she's like, Nelson Mandela's in the paper. And I'm like, that's really what we want to get out of it, is that people now aren't thinking about Africa as the rhinos coming after me. They're thinking about actual global issues. And, we can't go home because we have that knowledge now. We have to tell other people. But then they get the information too and can call me up and talk about international things. So
I've definitely altered my plans since going to South Africa. You talk about changing your trajectory. I really have. I know I've always wanted to do journalism, and I do still want to do that, but I really want to incorporate that with some sort of international component now. I want to work for an international nonprofit. I want to work for an international NGO, doing the media side of things. I would love to do that. I'd love to work on developmental communication. Utilize my minor with that. And especially partner with Africa because it's a place that I have a special place in my heart for now. But really, I just the way it's changed me is I just really have a much bigger passion towards bringing myself out there into the international community to help others and using the skills that I get here and the experiences I've had here at Keene State to help others around the world.
I really am more aware of global issues, like what Corey was saying. It's not just America or it's not just South Africa. The world is being globalized. People are interacting, people are traveling more often, and I really think that's very important and now has become part of my life where I'm not just thinking about Keene, New Hampshire. I'm thinking about what can I do for the whole world, or there's programs in grad school that are international health or international nutrition, and I never would have thought about that before.